180,000 cars sent back in a single year. That is not a statistic. That is a national scandal. And the reason it is happening, the real reason, not the one the industry wants you to read, is something every British driver who has ever sat in a dealership and signed a finance agreement needs to understand. Because the car industry in Britain has been getting away with something for decades, and in 2026 the bill is finally coming due. Let us start with what is actually happening on the ground. Every single week, thousands of British drivers are discovering that the car they paid tens of thousands of pounds for does not work the way it should. Software that crashes, charging systems that fail, build quality that falls apart before the first service. And most of them are doing exactly what the industry trained them to do, calling the dealer, accepting a booking 3 weeks out, letting the car sit on their drive while they wait for a slot that conveniently pushes them past the point where their legal rights are strongest. That is not an accident, that is a strategy. Here is what the industry does not tell you about the Consumer Rights Act 2015. If your car develops a fault in the first 30 days, you do not have to accept a repair. You do not have to give the dealer a chance to fix it. You can reject the car outright, full refund, no negotiation. Under Section 20 of the Act, the dealer must refund you within 14 days, full stop. After 30 days, but within 6 months, the burden of proof is reversed. The dealer has to prove the fault did not exist when you bought it, not the other way around. They get one attempt at a repair. If it fails, or if the fault returns, you are entitled to a full refund or a price reduction at your choice. Every year, around 25,000 people contact the Motor Ombudsman to resolve a new car dispute, vehicle warranty, servicing, or repair complaint. A similar number complain to the Financial Ombudsman about finance linked to car purchases. And those are only the people who knew where to go. The experts believe the true scale of the problem is dramatically larger. Most buyers either do not know their rights or do not know how to enforce them. The 180,000 returns in 2026 represent the ones who did. So why is the number exploding now? Why 2026? There are 3 reasons, and they have converged at exactly the same moment. The first is software. This is the thing the car industry genuinely did not see coming, or if they saw it, they chose not to deal with it. Modern cars are computers. The infotainment, the driver assistance systems, the climate control, the charging management on electric vehicles, and increasingly the engine management itself, all of it runs on software. Software that can fail. Software that can be corrupted by a background update pushed to the car 2 weeks after you drove it off the forecourt. A dealer cannot fix a software fault with a spanner. They need a patch that may not exist yet. Meanwhile, your 30-day clock is running. And the industry is counting on you not knowing that. The second reason is the ZEV mandate. The government requires manufacturers to sell an increasing percentage of electric vehicles every year, with fines of £15,000 per non-compliant car sold outside their allowance. Those fines are enormous. So manufacturers pushed EVs through production lines in the first half of 2026 at a pace that outran their quality control. Cars came off lines with known charging faults, known software bugs, known build quality inconsistencies, because the mandate penalty for not selling them exceeds the cost of the warranty claims that follow. British buyers accepted delivery of cars that were not ready. They are now exercising their rights, and the industry is furious about it because they created the problem themselves. The third reason is the most significant of all. It is awareness, and it is directly connected to the £7.5 billion scandal sitting at the centre of British car retail right now. The motor finance mis-selling investigation has changed everything about how British car buyers interact with the industry. 8 million people. That is the estimated number of British drivers who may have been overcharged on their car finance agreements through what the industry calls discretionary commission arrangements, where dealers were paid hidden commissions by lenders to set higher interest rates than necessary without telling the customer. The FCA found it, the Supreme Court is ruling on it. Lloyds Banking Group has already set aside £1.2 billion in provisions. Close Brothers, another major motor finance lender, has paused new business entirely. When 8 million people discover they may have been systematically overcharged by the industry they trusted, something shifts. The culture of deference, the sense that the dealer knows best, that you should accept what they offer, that complaining is somehow ungrateful, evaporates. A buyer who has just learned that their PCP rate was inflated because their dealer earned a hidden commission they were never told about is not going to quietly accept a software fault in their new car. They are going to find out what they are entitled to. And what they are entitled to under the Consumer Rights Act is a full refund. That is what 180,000 of them did in 2026, and the number is rising. Now let us talk about the cars generating the most returns, because this is not randomly distributed. The 180,000 are not spread evenly across every manufacturer on the market. Electric vehicles account for a disproportionate share. Not because every EV is unreliable, but because the ZEV mandate pressure I described earlier, the rush to market, the quality control gaps, the software that was not ready, lands almost entirely on the electric end of the market. The charging failures, the infotainment crashes, the build inconsistencies that trigger 30-day rejections are overwhelmingly concentrated in EVs pushed out under mandate pressure. Vauxhall models on the Stellantis platform appear in the rejection data at rates significantly above their market share. Peugeot and Citroën, sharing the same architecture, appear alongside them. Land Rover models, where the April 2026 JLR recall covering 170,000 mild hybrid vehicles with an unresolved DC-DC converter fault intersects directly with the 30-day rejection window, have generated a significant and growing volume of formal rejections in the months since the recall was announced. Cars that were delivered with an active, unresolved safety recall. Buyers who found out about the recall after signing. Toyota, Honda, Mazda, and Kia all generate rejection rates well below the industry average. The correlation between where a manufacturer sits in the reliability data and how many of their cars get rejected is almost exact. The manufacturers who build cars that work when they are delivered do not have a Consumer Rights Act problem. The ones who do are the same ones at the bottom of every reliability survey in Britain. Here is the thing the dealers will not say out loud, but every mechanic in Britain knows. The tactics used to keep buyers from exercising the 30-day right are not illegal. They are just effective. Booking the first fault inspection appointment 3 to 4 weeks out, eating into the 30-day window while the car sits on your drive, describing obvious faults as normal settling-in characteristics. Offering a goodwill gesture, a free service, a tank of fuel, a detailing package, in exchange for dropping the issue before it becomes a formal rejection. These are standard industry responses. They are designed to let the calendar solve the problem that consumer law would otherwise solve in your favor. And they work, because most British buyers do not know they have 30 days to act. Most of them think they have to accept a repair. Most of them think calling the dealer is the same as rejecting the car in writing. It is not. A phone call you cannot prove happened does not protect you under the Consumer Rights Act. An email with a timestamp does. Within 30 days, you have the strongest rights. Under the Consumer Rights Act, you can reject a faulty car and claim a full refund within the first 30 days of purchase. Document the fault the day you find it. Photograph it, video it, report it to the dealer by email the same day. Keep the copy. That is the entire process. The 180,000 people who rejected cars in 2026 all did exactly that. The millions who did not and paid for it had the same right, they just did not know it. The 180,000 returns are not a consumer problem, they are an industry problem. A quality control failure concentrated in the manufacturers who rushed product to market under mandate pressure and sold it to buyers who had no idea they were taking on the risk. The Consumer Rights Act did not create the returns crisis, defective cars did. And until the bottom of the reliability table is held to the same standard as the top, the number will keep climbing. Britain's car industry is celebrating 2 million registrations and calling it a recovery. Behind that number is a scandal that is only just beginning to surface. 180,000 people sent their cars back in 2026. That number is going to be higher in 2027, and the industry knows it. Have you returned a car or tried to and been blocked? Tell me exactly what happened in the comments. I read every one. You know what to do. And one more thing before you go, because this matters more than anything else I have said. If you bought a car on PCP or hire purchase at any point between 2007 and 2021, you may be one of the 8 million people owed money under the finance mis-selling investigation. You do not need to do anything yet. The Supreme Court ruling will determine the process, but you should check. The FCA has a dedicated page. The Financial Ombudsman is handling complaints. The lenders have set aside the money because they know the ruling is coming. This is not a speculative claim, it is a legal process already underway, with billions of pounds already provisioned. Two things happened to British car buyers at the same time in 2026. They discovered they had been overcharged on their finance for years, and they discovered they had the legal right to reject cars that did not work. Both of those things are true, both of them are now being acted on. The industry spent decades counting on buyers not knowing either. That era is over. A dealer who will not take your car as a part exchange is not doing you a favor by being honest. They are telling you something about the market that you need to hear before it costs you thousands of pounds. Because the cars dealers are refusing in 2026 are not the ones nobody wants. They are the ones dealers cannot move fast enough to avoid losing money on them, and the longer you sit on one of these, the less it is worth. This is the list. Pay attention to it. I'm a mechanic, I've run a workshop for over 20 years, I've got nothing to sell you, let's get into it. Before the countdown, one thing about how the part exchange process actually works. When a dealer values your car, they are not estimating what it is worth to you. They are estimating what they can sell it for, minus the cost of preparing it, minus a profit margin, minus a buffer for how long it might sit on their forecourt. The buffer is the key number. A car that moves in 2 weeks gets a very different valuation from a car that will sit for 3 months. When a dealer refuses your car outright, it means they cannot see a realistic path to selling it at a price that recovers what they would need to pay you for it. That is the signal. Number 11. The Nissan Leaf pre-2019 24 and 30 kWh. The early Leaf was the car that introduced mass-market electric motoring to Britain, and it is now the car that mass-market Britain cannot get rid of. The air-cooled battery chemistry degrades faster than anything in the class, and at 70,000 miles, many early examples are delivering 60 to 65% of their original range. Dealers know that a used car buyer doing basic research will discover this within minutes. The battery replacement cost, £3,000 to £7,000 for third-party options, does not leave room for a dealer margin at the prices the market will pay. Most franchise dealers will not touch pre-2019 Leafs as part exchange. Number 10. The Vauxhall Corsa Electric, 2020-2022. 3-year depreciation on the Corsa Electric runs at 72%. On a £29,000 original list price, the market value sits around £8,000 to £10,000. Dealers who took early Corsa Electrics in part exchange during the initial ZV mandate push are now sitting on stock they cannot move because Chinese electric cars are available new for prices close to what they paid for the used Corsa Electric. The double pressure of Stellantis brand uncertainty and the Chinese competition dynamic makes these essentially impossible to retail profitably. Many dealers are sending them straight to auction rather than holding them on forecourt. Number 9. The Peugeot 3000 Anant, pre-2022 PureTech petrol. The timing belt in the oil issue has now been in the public domain long enough that used car buyers know to ask about it. A dealer taking a pre-2022 3008 in part exchange either has to disclose the engine history question to the next buyer, which reduces the pool of buyers, or absorb the risk themselves. Most franchised Peugeot dealers and a growing number of independents are declining pre-facelift 3008 PureTech models on the basis that the disclosure obligation and the potential warranty liability make the margin too thin. If you have one, the window for a reasonable part exchange value is closing. Number 8. The MG ZS EV 2020-2022. The combination of a 38% fault rate in UK reliability surveys and genuine uncertainty about MG's long-term UK presence has created a dealer reluctance that is becoming systematic. A dealer holding an MG ZS EV on their forecourt faces the question of what to tell the next buyer about battery replacement. Who covers it? At what cost? Through which supplier? In 3 years? These are questions dealers cannot confidently answer, and that uncertainty translates directly into reduced or refused part exchange offers. CAP HPI data shows MG ZS EV values declining faster than any other EV in the mainstream market through the first half of 2026. Number 7. The Jeep Renegade and Compass, any year. Jeep's 100,000-mile warranty cap is not just a problem for buyers. It is a problem for any dealer who takes a Jeep past that mileage in part exchange, because the warranty is expired and the Consumer Reports last place reliability ranking is well known enough to suppress buyer confidence. The fiat platform underneath generates enough workshop issues that dealers cannot price in the liability risk and still offer a number the owner will accept. Most mainstream dealers are actively discouraging Jeep trade-ins. The ones still taking them are offering numbers that owners rarely accept. Number 6. The BMW i3, any year. Real-world range of 100 to 160 miles on a used market that now has Hyundai Ioniqs and Kia e-Souls available for similar money with 250 plus miles. The unusual design, rear hinged doors and shade mode charging on early models all narrow the buyer pool to a niche within a niche. BMW dealers will take them in part exchange, but the valuations are consistently 20 to 30% below what owners expect based on online guide prices. Independent dealers are largely refusing them outright because the holding cost on a car with a slow-moving buyer demographic is difficult to justify. Number 5. Any diesel registered before 2015 in a city catchment area. This is the most practically significant entry on this list for the largest number of British drivers. If you own a pre-2015 diesel and you live within 20 miles of Birmingham, London, Bristol, Bath, Portsmouth, Oxford, Newcastle or Sheffield, a dealer in your area knows that your car has a clean air zone liability attached to it. Any buyer they sell it to either cannot use it in the city or will face daily charges. That circle of potential buyers is dramatically smaller than for an equivalent petrol or later diesel. The part exchange offer reflects that directly. Number 4. The Land Rover Discovery Sport 2015-2020. The April 2026 JLR mild hybrid recall covering 170,000 vehicles includes Discovery Sport models from this era. A dealer taking one of these in part exchange is taking on a car with an active, unresolved recall, no available fix, and a 40 to 45% fault rate in independent reliability surveys. The cost of the recall repair, once a fix is developed, will fall on whoever owns the vehicle at the time. Dealers are either declining altogether or offering prices that reflect the uncertainty so aggressively that owners are better served going direct to auction. Number 3. The Renault Zoe, pre-2020. 70% 3-year depreciation, CH-ADAMO adjacent charging infrastructure becoming increasingly rare on new installations, real-world range under 150 miles on older battery chemistry. Renault's EV restructuring creating genuine questions about long-term part support for older Zoe batteries. Dealers who took early Zoes in part exchange found themselves holding stock that moved slowly and required significant price reductions to shift. The word has gone around the trade. Most dealers have a quiet policy of refusing pre-2020 Zoes, and the ones that do accept them offer numbers that barely cover the auction estimate. Number 2. The Volkswagen Tiguan DQ200 Dry Clutch DSG, pre-2020. A used car buyer who has done any research knows the DQ200 gearbox history. A dealer who buys one in part exchange has to either disclose the gearbox question, which reduces their buyer pool, or absorb the risk of the potential clutch failure on their warranty cover. On a car that may need £1,000 to $100-500 in gearbox work, the margin does not survive that exposure. Franchised VW dealers are the most likely to take these in, for the obvious brand loyalty reasons, but the offers consistently run lower than owners expect. Independent dealers are the most likely to refuse outright. Number 1. Any EV out of its manufacturer battery warranty with over 60,000 miles. The single most common part exchange refusal conversation in British dealers in 2026 is the one where a customer drives in with an electric car that is out of its battery warranty and has 60,000 to 80,000 miles on it. The dealer's position is straightforward. The biggest unknown cost of that vehicle, battery replacement at between $5,000 and $20,000 depending on make and model, is now the next buyer's problem rather than the manufacturer's. Disclosing that risk kills the sale. Not disclosing it creates a potential legal liability under the Consumer Rights Act. The simplest solution, which more and more dealers are taking, is to not accept the car at all. If you own one of these, you are not without options. Direct private sale, specialist EV buying services, and auction routes all exist. But the clock on the part exchange route is closing. The data is clear and the dealers already know it. 11 cars, 11 conversations happening on dealer forecourts across Britain right now that owners are not prepared for. The time to act on any of these is before your dealer tells you they do not want it, because by then the market has already decided. Have you been refused a trade-in in 2026? Tell me what they said and what the car was in the comments. I read every one. You know what to do with that subscribe button.